exclusive.
I grew up like a savage.
Together, and you talk about uniting these neighborhoods, like that was always in you, of course, because you know everybody tell them stories. Like, how did that happen? Was that something that was taught to you out of the household, or how did that happen for you? Like, how did you decide that you wanted all of your people to be united like that?
Well, for me, growing up around the mob, you know, which was Felix crew, you know, they was much older than me. They had a different method of how they operated, and they flexed their muscles a lot. You know, if in certain areas, if you wasn't in the mob, you wasn't no boy or no girl.
Right,
you know?
right.
And they meant that, you know, and everybody who knew the mob knew that. Them, you know, a lot of them dudes was killers, man. You know, so. Growing up seeing that when I was young, I used to say to myself, what about if I can build me a crew up, keep the violence down, build these relationships with these other dudes from these other neighborhoods, then I can have more power than Felix and them.
Right.
Because I got less enemies.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm gonna do business with more guys. So it's gonna generate more revenue, and then it's gonna bring more peace amongst us because I'm building these relationships that's gonna keep the violence down, you know, and that's important.
And you can't get no money with all that violence in the air.
Straight up.
So that was my approach. My approach was to build relationships with these different guys from different neighborhoods and different areas because it's going to generate more revenue for all parties. We can go where we want to go. We can hang out. We can kick it. We can get money. And we ain't got to be warned, though. So that was something I thought about when I was young. I felt that would put me in a position of unlimited power and the ability to have diplomacy.
Did you get any pushback from the OGs because that wasn't their style?
Yeah, some of them, but I went and had a conversation with Felix at the county jail, you know, and told him that I respect him, I respect what my older homeboys, how they did their thing in the mob, but I got a different philosophy. Mm-hmm. That I wanted to build these relationships with these different guys that at one time that they was warned with, but the guys that's up under them, they open to build these relationships with me, and it's gonna be good for business.
Right, right.
So he respected it and told me I needed to be careful. And so of course some of the homeboys they didn't care for it though, but once he put his stamp on it, you know, it was nothing
else good to go.
Say about it, you know. And like I said, I knew that method would save lives, you know.
Yeah, because we talked about that before, and like how your story getting told and different things like that, like how you have to tell stories and the transition of power that was always legendary and a rumor on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you know how deep rooted I am with this shit and how right. You know, I had a front row seat, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. And, you know, the shift of power that they always talked about, like, you know, that nobody knew exactly what it was, but we knew at some point the conversation was had or Felix gave you his blessing. We didn't know how it was. Mm-hmm. It was always the rumor that, hey, he left him $30 million and 500 bricks. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't even a coke thing then. It was a heroin thing then for him. You know what I'm saying? The way y'all was moving on the street was different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, in order to get these dudes together, you know, it'd be a lot of lessons in that. And the reason, like, we always tell these stories, it's not that we glorifying anything, but, you know, I've learned in my older years to be unapologetically black. Because even our parents didn't know. Well, not our parents, but like your parents happen to be in the game. Yeah. But my mama was in the game. Yeah. But for people who lived the square life, they did not understand, right? Mm-hmm. So it would be like, y'all just doing some terrible shit. Yeah. Fuck all that You can say what you want to say. This shit is terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but you know,
it's bad from the outside looking in.
you know deep down inside, as bad as a motherfucker try to make you feel, you ain't no terrible person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's my circumstances.
It's my circumstances,
Yeah,
which got
100%.
you doing that, which I know your circumstance was, man, my mom and daddy working too fucking hard.
Yeah.
They coming up in this house too beat up, man. We ain't gonna be able to do this shit much longer, so I'm gonna have to shake.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so when I say I learned to be unapologetically black is because my circumstances didn't start off like that. Like I said, we was just at the thing, me and Rich at the march, and we see London Breeze say, shit, if it wasn't for the hood giving me them couple dollars for some lunch money, I wouldn't have made it. Well, where you think the couple dollars come from?
Right.
I just watched Big Facts podcast with DJ Scream and Big Bank Black, and he say, hey man, Keisha Bottoms taking away task force. Ain't no task force in Atlanta. Y'all not running up in no houses no more, man. We ain't doing that shit. You know why? She said, because when it came down to it, they fucked people up. They got the same thing we talked about. Now it's bipping. Now it's stealing. Now it's breaking and shit, robbing you, hurting you, going in nail shops, going in coffee shops, snatching phones, you know what I'm saying? The shit turned petty.
Right.
From what they grew up, probably Keisha Bottoms in London, was not to say any of this shit was right at all.
Right.
But the hustler.
Right.
The hustler can be transformed into now a legal hustler,
Right.
which is like what Rich is showing
Right.
people, the kids at project level. You know what I'm saying?
And still keeping it. I mean, what they say, cool, fly, fresh, like, and still, because you know, growing up,
Right, you ain't gotta be considered a square or-
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I try to break them barriers all of the time. But I used to tell young niggas like when I was still rapping, and like I told you, we used to have a lot of youngsters around us, and some of these youngsters are shooters and all that. And I used to be like, look, bro, I don't care what you talking about and how popular and all the sensation it is to have that reputation. I'm like, none of y'all is more famous or popular than me in this hood.
Right,
And
right,
I'm not
right.
shooting, killing none of these. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
it's like think about that real quick. Like,
Right.
and
It's other ways to become popular.
no,
Right.
a whole lot of other ways. So when we used to, so it just like that it was like the era we was in, it just was a big disconnect between the street shit and then where I'm at now, right? So it was like, that's why when I retired to do this though, because I knew that it's a lot of niggas that like to straddle the fence and play both sides, and you can't. You can't. But you can still keep your freshness, nigga. Whatever made you a fly nigga, period.
Right.
You still gonna keep that.
Right.
Absolutely.
But then you gonna show these youngsters this other ways of being the nigga. You know what I'm saying?
And that's-
also still be fly.
Straight up,
we don't
straight
have
up.
to really, we know 90% of the rap shit is fake. We know amongst each other kind of where you kind of come from and what this shit about, right? Yeah. For instance, you talking about how you wanted to build relationships, right?
Right.
To this day, there's a relationship with a founder, the real founder of Death Row Records, right? Harry O, your folks, right?
Right.
We talking about connections you made in the game,
Right,
You know what I'm saying? The real Rick Ross,
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? To the point where you was so young coming down here, they're like, man, what is you doing with this money, man? Where you coming from, man? Who sent you? I mean, no disrespect to our children,
who
but
you
that's not
represent?
their style. They don't have no backbone to walk in no motherfucking danger zone with no bunch of money and put that shit together, because when they do try to, we see what happened. We see this shit on the news all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they try to emulate that lifestyle, it's not that time no more, right? So we trying to tell. But what I'm trying to say is, even you doing 28 years and getting pardoned by Obama, right? What you stood on, and this is what I tell people: we not running around here having stop snitching campaigns. That shit was corny, right? I never liked that shit, right? Because we have to identify civilians. Civilians are more than welcome to call the police.
Oh, absolutely. It's a
You get robbed, you supposed to call the cops. You supposed to, your mama,
I'm
your
not
daddy,
breaking
these
the law.
motherfuckers, they supposed to do what they supposed to do.
Right.
Straight up.
It's us people that chose a different lifestyle, which we didn't choose it just to be
Didn't
crazy.
really choose it.
We didn't choose it to hurt
Everybody didn't
people.
choose- right.
It fall in your lap sometimes.
Yeah,
Like, you don't
sometimes
choose
it
it.
fall
I
in your
didn't choose it.
I didn't choose it.
I didn't
For sure.
choose
I
it.
didn't
You know,
choose it.
But if you in it,
if you in it,
then you can't be.
and the accountability and responsibility in doing 28 years, that's why I think the kids fuck with you.
Yeah.
Because the streets didn't wear you down because you left your youth where it was at. You came back to your youth.
Yeah.
So when you around that shit, the energy, that shit get you high. You're like, this young nigga, I like this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because the old cats is wore down.
Yeah.
They done been to prison, got out repeatedly back and forth. I think that's a bigger stress than staying in. Nigga, you can't stay out.
Yeah, because you break yourself down. You got to build yourself back up. Break it down.
Decisions, the woman you decide to be with, right? She turns out to be not a supporter. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Not an asset, but a liability. You know what I'm saying? You know, I tell the cats all the time, just like we was talking to a cat that's in a situation that could come up, right? You could be on this corner and mess with the wrong woman, and she could run back to you because she was in the wrong place. Like, these niggas disrespected me. What I was saying earlier, you know what I'm saying? These are the things we see. So when I try to tell them about the past and the things, you got to learn from the past, not try to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? You got to try to get better. So, and when I'm asking you this about, like, you know, having diplomacy and being able to mess with dudes in different neighborhoods and not be so violent, and it allowed you to make these relationships, like, can you kind of like give the people just like a brief thing? Yeah, kind of like an example of like how it helped you in situations or in the long run, or how you can count on people because you did those things. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely, because, for example, in prison, you know, in prison, a lot of guys, man, walk around with a chip on their shoulder because of their circumstances, you know, whether their girl didn't left them, people who they thought was going to be there for them turned their back on them. Ain't nobody sending them no money. They not getting no mail. So you got a lot of angry people in prison. They, you know, they angry, they mad, they bitter. So, of course, you have a lot of conflict going on within those prisons. So, for example, me, the relationships I built with different dudes, like me building that relationship with James Beasley, right, in San Francisco. That relationship stopped San Francisco and Oakland from that time from going to war with each other because of that relationship I had with James Beasley, right? But I knew the value of these relationships. That's why I built those relationships in the game. So that when situations come about with a phone call or a mediator stepping in, it can possibly save some lives from being taken, right? Right. Some dude's gonna die, and some dude's gonna go to jail for life. Either way, you lose, right? So I got multiple situations where it's because of my relationship that I built, whether it was some Southsiders, some Northaniels, some Crips, some Bloods, that my relationship and my diplomacy was the reason why dudes love me all around the country that I did all these years with, because that's one of the things that I has a great gift in, and that's diplomacy, you know, of being able to talk to you and say, look, man, I know you mad, but you better think about what you're going to do. Right. Because if you kill dude right now, you ain't never going home, homie. Right, right. You know, and having that gift, gab to be able to talk to dudes like that, and when your word and your character stands, they can more so trust what you're trying to tell them. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. So that's where diplomacy comes into play. Absolutely. You know? How did you feel like at the time when you was gone, and like because I've known things that happen, and we got to put it on the line now because of course Rich can relate to this, like when you had to have that phone call because of the situation that was going on at radio with Mistah Fab, what he went through, as like the same thing with Too Short, where they was like, you know, because that just came to me. Like, I'm around and I heard like, damn, Lil D called Big Von, and like I know for a fact that he was shook. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me figure out what's going on. But I always said that at some point, and this is no disrespect to Big Von, but and this is far before I really understood radio too, is that
that nigga has a job. You know what I'm saying? He can do what he want to do, but he has to use his leeway for what he actually wants to do. Far as somebody trying to put something on him, but the thing that happened with him and Mistah Fab was a disagreement. Fab had a radio show. The shit went down. It got ugly. You know what I'm saying? And when you got that kind of info in jail and you had to make them calls because you're not even necessarily connected to the music. You are connected to the music business, but you didn't have your own label at the time that was operating. So when they call you for shit like that, how did you go about it, and how did you know you was gonna approach it? Like, how did you say, I'm gonna call this guy from the radio?
How you judge and jury in it from?
Well, E40 reached out to me about what was going on with the situation with Vine and Fab. So 40 spoke and, explained to me, that Vine only has so much control over there at the station, right? Vine is not a bad dude, him and Fab had some issues where some things were said, and so it was a little bad blood there. So my concern with this, if Vine did have the ability to not have Fab music being played on the radio and Fab music deserved to be on the radio, then my position was dude shouldn't be allowed to stop one of the homies from feeding their family because of his personal feelings. If the man's music deserved to be played on the radio, then why should it not be played?
And I don't want none of y'all artists to get this twisted on what he's saying, because it's not that he deserved to be on the radio because he felt like that. It's because other people is playing this record and this record is buzzing in the streets. So he's cutting off his water at some point in this situation.
So for me, if I'm an artist, I'm gonna take that personal. It's just like me being on the street selling work, but I'm doing something legitimate with my talent, and you shouldn't take the food off my table because you don't like me. For me, that's gonna be a problem.
Right.
So when I reached out to speak with Vine about it, I wanted to try to figure out what was going on. Can that come to some type of resolution to resolve it before things get out of hand, because there was people who was upset about that. So I just was trying to use my communication skills and my common sense to have some dialogue with Vine and 40 and them to try to help them at some point and try to resolve that particular issue at that time.
Now, I know that you being and we need that, we need the Daryl Reeds, we need the Big Riches, we need the Big U's, we need the Nipseys, rest in peace, God bless his soul. We need those people in our hoods to be able to make those phone calls and be able to do that. Just like earlier, we kind of like got down to the bottom of something with just some gentlemen chopping it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's advise the young brother on some help, and boom, 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 somebody make a call. But how do you feel about that? Like when, because I feel like at some point, like, it's a cloud chasing industry for one now. Things have changed, right? So like when we get in those situations where like you have an E40 and like let's just say, because in our mind, how we look at it, he's being attacked by a Whack 100 online, right? Verbally, because we feel like we should hold a guy like that accountable because of his age. Like, what's up. Fuck these kids. Like, why you doing that, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we look at it, right? So when those type of things happen, and you say that I have laid a foundation for myself that I can make a call, because everybody ain't who they think they is. They might make a call and get disrespected. Nigga, what the fuck wrong with you? Get off my phone, nigga. Fuck you think you is. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen with you. You know that. You know what I'm saying? Because you laid down a foundation of righteousness, what I was saying earlier, that people got to follow. It's like really living by the code. You know what I'm saying? Living by the code so much so that you'll do 28 years behind this shit. You know what I'm saying? And not tell on the soul. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing I wanted to ask you real quick was, because for the people that don't know, you was real instrumental in Hammer's coming up. MC Hammer, for those that don't know. and you helped him out, and you did shit that, like, of course you would have been an executive had you been here. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what people do. They help out. They end up becoming an executive. They don't necessarily know. They think they helping out a partner, and they doing executive work, which you would have done. It would have been just a natural progression. But as you seeing Hammer be disrespected while you're in prison, right? And you getting the rumor mill shit, even from people from our own city, and he's being disrespected by not just people from our own city, the entire industry. Like, people were saying weird shit. Like I said, like, when Third Base did that and they said, Hammer, shut the fuck up. Like, wait a minute, who was bruh talking to? Like, hold on, you a guest in this house, bruh. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then Hammer let you motherfuckers know, I'll turn this motherfucker out. I'm finna do my thing. But as you getting those calls and you seeing him be disrespected for exactly what they bringing him back for right now, which you posted on your page, nostalgia purposes, right? Because they made, in Living Color was like the Black People Saturday Night Live, so Hammer is funny. They're going to make the overs, not the big pants, the two big pants, like, and do all the weird shit, right? And it was like, Hammer was a joke, but we talking about a motherfucker who challenged Michael Jackson. Fuck what you talking about. Wow. That can't happen. It definitely can't happen from no rapper, right? So as you were seeing the disrespect, how did you feel? And what did you talk about with like Hammer?
These conversations with them on visit, you know, and I was like, man, you know, if I was on them streets, man, it'd be a problem, right? And he would say, he said, but man, you know, that's a part of this industry, man. You know, like when you on top, man, they trying to pull you down, you know.
Pull you down.
You know, even the rumors about helicopters and all the crazy
buying the police helicopters,
And I'm sitting up and I'm saying, here go this dude is the biggest rapper in the game, right? And here he is still supporting a dude that's got 35 years and he coming up in this prison and making sure, you know, dude don't need nothing and looking out for his son. This is what keeping it real is. He wanted the realest dude in this whole rap game, and here they is slandering his character. So I'm telling him man, you know what I would do? Some of these dudes behind you, man, and he like, man, but I don't want you to even go down there, man.
Right.
You know, when we have to handle our business on the road, the real dudes, they know, man.
Yeah.
Right.
We ain't going to expose them, but we didn't put these things on plenty of them dudes on that road, man. They know we represent this town, man. They can talk that shit all they want. And that's what he always reassured me, like, man, we got knockouts, man. We get this Hammer thing, man. They know.
Hey, some artists have said it. Man. Shout out to Big Boy from Outkast. He let everybody know Hammer beat your ass. Don't play.
Ben said Hammer got them out.
And even with the commercials and the product placement. And
they mad at him floating off the top of Taco Bell. But this is what everybody does.
But all he was trying to do was show these rappers that being a rapper is just a platform to build your brand off of. You're not just a rapper, man. You're a money machine, man. You got
more than just standing in front of that microphone.
So all these things that he did for hip hop, and for some reason, they just don't get his first rapper to go diamond. They don't, for some reason, I don't know if it's because he's from the town or the Bay, but they don't want to tell the world the trends that he set and he started as this dancing rapper.
And